What's up, everybody? Smokey here at DLW Motorsports, and in this video I'm going to tell you guys how I became a technician and the 5 mistakes that I made along the way. So stick around so that you don't make any of these mistakes either. Let's get into it. I started as a technician in 2008 when I went to school at Wyotech in the city of Long Beach, California. What got me into being a technician was my love for cars. I grew up around cars. I was passionate about cars. I wasn't a gearhead, so to speak, but I was into cars. One of my favorite cars growing up was a Nissan GTR. I was so fascinated by that. I used to play with that car on Gran Turismo all the time. And so as I got older, I started to have this urge to want to fix cars, to want to work on my cars and things like that. And so that's what kind of got me into being a technician and starting that, going to school for it and things like that. My biggest goal, I would say, as a technician is one day to own my own shop, maybe multiple shops. I think I'm getting started. You know, I hit the ground running with starting my own business and taking clients, both on the automotive side and the rotary side. As you can see, there's a rotary engine in the background that I've been working on, and I wanted to stop and give you guys just some background about who Smokey is. And so I would say one of the hardest things about being a technician, though, is sometimes you can get burnt out. If you're doing it every day, especially being a professional technician, working at a shop or working for a company. And a lot of times you don't want to come home, and you don't, especially if you've had a long day working on cars, you really don't want to work on cars when you come home. But I would say the hardest thing is being burnt out from just always working on cars, whether it's your projects or you're helping a friend or you have clients on top of working on cars at work. And so that's the hardest thing for me about being a technician. Going to school, though, I do think it is important for some to go to school to be a professional technician, but also having hands-on training or being under someone who could groom you, or, you know, be an apprentice for someone. Schooling helps. It does help, but it's not the end-all be-all. It does help you to become a better technician because you gain a lot more knowledge and skill set going to school, but also having that hands-on training and someone mentoring you. I had the best of both worlds. I had a mentor who kind of showed me the ropes, helped me with certain things, especially in the rotary industry. I knew nothing about rotary engines. I knew nothing about rotary cars. When I got my first rotary car, I call him my big brother. He was into rotaries, and he helped me kind of make that transition into rotaries. And then I started going to school, and so that kind of got me into it. So I will say someone would need school, but also they need that hands-on training and a mentor to kind of show them the ropes and how to take that knowledge that you got from school and put that into you know, everyday work with a car. So my first mistake, though, let's get into that. My first mistake as a technician, it's a bit embarrassing. I blew my motor. I was at school and I was having a revving contest with a friend, and I was revving my car, and we were trying to see whose car was the loudest, and I ended up blowing my motor. Just blew it all up. It was so embarrassing, and it was in front of the entire school. And so that was one of my first mistakes becoming a technician. My second mistake, I was working on a Honda for a friend, and I was doing a spark plug job. And just like any other, you know, job that I do, I always screw them in by hand. And for some reason, tighten them all down, didn't over tighten them, but I think his head was already messed up, and I had to eat that cost. I had to get his head fixed and remachined and all that stuff. And that was my second mistake on my journey to becoming a technician. It was one of those things that I just kind of not folded, but I didn't want to, kind of stepped away for a little bit. I still did stuff for friends and, you know, my own projects, but it was one of those things where it was just like, if someone outside of them asked me, I'm afraid to do it. My third mistake, I would say, was choosing the right school. I kept seeing Wyotech on TV, and I went for it. I didn't even think about my community college having courses and classes. I didn't think about the cost. I just wanted to do it. And so I ended up going to Wyotech and spending a lot of money where I could have gone to my community college, got a lot of the same basic knowledge and skill set, and saved me so much money doing it that way. And so that was kind of my third mistake. My fourth mistake was, so many, because you're going to make mistakes along the way, but to pinpoint my top 5, oh man, that's a bit hard. I could say broken bolts on my own projects. I used to over tighten bolts on my engines when I was working on something, and I would break the head off, and I would have to pull that out or pull off that component to fix it and things like that. And I hated it. It made my work even more harder because now I got to go back and refix this or yeah, it was a mess, you guys. I promise you it was a mess. My fifth mistake, I would say, would be not giving my all to the automotive industry. Let me explain what I mean. When I finished school, I did not immediately go into working at a dealership or anything like that. I started working with my friend, helping my friend out on his race team. That wasn't a mistake. That I learned so much from him. I learned a lot from him. But I would say, had I gone into the automotive industry right after school, I think I would have been further along than where I am. The journey has been great. There's been ups, there's been downs. But had I gone to a shop or a dealership right out of school, I think I probably would have been further along in my career than where I am now. As far as racing and the race application, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't go back and say I want to do it all over again. I think my journey up to this point has been a great journey. Was that a mistake not going to a dealership right out of school? Maybe, maybe not. But for me, I feel like if I had gone, maybe I could have been further along. So there you go, guys. That's how I started my career as a technician and the mistakes that I made along the way. Let me know in the comments what your biggest mistakes was as a technician. And if you like this video and want to see more, turn on post notifications, like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss another video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.